Hi, my name's Amanda Sheppard, and for my cultural plunge experience, I went to visit an urban elementary school, and I observed a third grade classroom at John G. Carlisle Elementary in Covington. Um, and just a little bit of background of this school. 97% of the students they qualify for free or reduced lunch. Um, and bowling is a huge issue in the school. The teacher I observed even said that there is a huge issue even among young kids, which I thought was a little shocking. And also communication with parents is specifically hard in some ways because there's a lot of ESL students in the school, so that makes it really difficult for teachers to communicate with parents, which is a huge factor that we've learned in the class, the communication between parents and teachers. So that's just a little bit of background of the school. So I observed a third grade teacher. It's her first year as a teacher, so I thought that could really apply to me when I am eventually a first year teacher. So just a little bit about me. I am a sophomore at NKU, and I'm a middle school and special ed major, so I hope to teach either middle school or special ed after I graduate. I have never visited or been in an urban school, like seen a classroom of an urban school, so I thought this would be a really perfect opportunity to finally get that opportunity and the chance to visit and just observe, see what it's like, and especially since that's a huge part of the class is racism, sexism, classism in education, and just getting to see that played out in an urban school. And so prior to going into the school, I was a little nervous. The teacher, I had contact with her before I went in. She said that some students were violent, had pushed her, shoved her, grabbed her when she told them to do something, and that kind of just, I don't know, made me a little bit nervous about what I would maybe see. She said that students would rip down her posters, they would storm out of the classroom, and I was wondering if I was going to see some of that when I went in or not. So those were some of my preconceived thoughts about going in. So when I went to the school, it was my first reaction of seeing the school. It was very small. I think there's like under 400 students in the school. It's like K through 5. And so the third grade classroom was predominantly African American or Mexican students. There were a handful of white students, which I expected to see just a variety of different ethnicities. The school is very small. The classroom size was fairly large. There were multiple circle desks with students, like 4 students at a desk, to incorporate group learning and group conversations. The teacher even had them talk to each other as a group and share their thoughts with each other, which I thought was really cool. The classroom had a lot of color and posters, the ones that weren't ripped down, and they were kind of up high, so I could tell she purposely did that. She had rugs in the front and the rear of the classroom. They went to the rugs for like group activities and stuff. And so that's what the classroom looked like. The students interacted with each other kind of harshly. Some students would just complain about other students being bossy or being rude, and she would just say, ignore bad behavior. She said that many times, and there's not much that she felt like she could do to stop the bad behavior, which I thought was kind of shocking because I thought she could have had a little bit more handle of the classroom and the students, but some of these students you just couldn't handle. There were at least 2 or 3 in each classroom that were super disruptive. They got up from their seats. They didn't listen to her. They would yell at her. If she told them to sit down and be quiet, they would disrupt other students. And the students, for the most part, did a really good job at ignoring their bad behavior and just staying to their own work and still getting that education that they could and they wanted. They didn't let other students take that from them, which was really cool that the teacher encouraged that. So when I went, I didn't see any kids throw huge temper tantrums or get violent or anything. I saw a couple kids like run out of the classroom, hide under tables, but that's about it. So it wasn't too dramatic. I was also surprised to hear that the administration was different this year and that it had dramatically affected the way the school ran. I don't know a whole lot of information on that. We didn't have too much time to go into super long details, but this year being the first year with new administration, it's completely changed and a lot of teachers don't want to come back. My teacher even said that there's been days where she goes home crying and wanted to quit, but she's persevering, and I really admired that of her, that she is continuing to stick it out through the year. And she made a comment that was cool. She said after this year, she feels like she can take on anything because she's been challenged, and she'll be ready for whatever job is thrown at her next. As for what we've talked about in the class, I feel like I could really see the achievement gap, which was sad. I saw a lot of how the social achievement gap and the racial gap was played out. I thought that it was one problem that we've talked about in class is that it's important to have conversations about race and about these issues that are causing the kids to not get as great of an education as, say, a school in a suburban area. It's because no one's talking about the issues, and a lot of the teachers just don't talk with one another because of how stressful they are and how hard the school day is. So there's not really many conversations being had, which is a huge problem. And I feel like teachers wanting to leave but not really communicating that, and not having the passion to keep going and to see a change and to stick with something. I know there are teachers at that school that probably want to see a change and want to stick it out because they love the kids. Even my teacher was saying that she loves these kids, and that's what's keeping her there every day. So after just reflecting on it all, I know now that if I get hired at an urban school that it might be like this or it might not be. I can't just go in thinking it's always going to be just kids throwing fits and being disruptive and misbehave. There were some great kids in there, and you're going to have disruptive kids at any school. So I know that if I end up teaching at an urban school, I'll have different experiences than this or similar. It makes me really want to prepare well now while I'm in college still, and just learn as much as I can to benefit my students in the future. And just after observing this, I can definitely say that teaching is not an easy job. No matter what school I will teach at, I know it's going to be hard, and there's going to be students that just test my patience, and I know that it's not just inner city schools that are hard to teach at. It's every school. A teacher has to have passion, patience, and perseverance, and I know that those are 3 characteristics I need to practice now while I'm in college before I get into the workforce. So yeah, that was my cultural plunge experience. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I learned a lot about myself, and I could just, the whole time I tried to put myself in the shoes of the teacher and what I would do, and at some points I was like, I don't know what I would do in this situation. Sometimes we think we know what we would do until we're up close and we see it happen, and I was very shocked at just my own understanding of like, oh, I don't know what I would do. So I definitely learned a lot, and I think this assignment really helped me get a really large view of just education and the achievement gap, and just those issues that we're facing today in education. So thank you for your time, and I hope this video was enlightening. Thank you.